back to 1400s, guy. Wonderful. They're a pretty standard rain team, to be fair. Okay, they've got Dragonite, so I can't safely Dondozo them. This looks like rain with Dragonite looks awkward, doesn't it? I mean, that was on what the was it Risbeth team as well, so it's not uncommon. But not being able to Dondozo against rain is a bit awkward. I mean, I can, but it's probably not optimal. I think I am going to attempt to Electrode on one of these. To be fair, our Chaladon does very well if it just gets defense boosted, doesn't it? So I'm actually going to leave with our Chaladon. And then have Dondozo in the back after I've dealt with the Dragonite. That's what I'm going to do. Because again, they're likely to bring the rain for me. And that is a cool trainer card. And there is the Dragonite. So I should be able to Bullet Seed myself and... I mean, I can Body Press just KO the Archaladon, can't I? I can deal with the Dragonite later. Because I don't have Dragon Pulse. That was something I didn't consider. Yeah, I can just snipe the Archaladon. Because I have EV'd this, so theoretically this KOs. Like, even with +4. But they did Terra. Okay, fair enough. That's a bit of a shame. And it was fighting themselves. But that's okay. I reckon they're going to Scale Shot themselves, aren't they? We're going to do exactly the same thing, aren't we? And it's going to be hilarious. So, story time while we both hit each other and activate stamina at least 8 times. Like this will take a little while. I assume they're going to Scale Shot themselves. Yeah, they are. And they're going to miss! No. Okay, that's fine. My Chaladon is speedier than most normal ones. So I should be attacking first. I should still have the advantage. And even if I don't this turn, I will have Electro Web next turn. And they're doing way more to themselves. Especially because they crit themselves. So actually, I think I have a huge advantage right now. Because Electrode still outspeeds Dragonite. And I do outspeed them. That's a tiny bit. Hopefully they go for my Archaladon as well. Rather than my Electrode, because that will KO Electrode. Yeah, cool. That was still a good chunk. Okay, so I will Electro Web for sure, but the Dragonite will still outspeed my Archaladon. Do I Terra the Archaladon? Because that will KO the Dragonite for sure afterwards, wouldn't it? It just depends if they Tailwind. And this will allow me to survive afterwards, so yeah, I think I will. Because if they Tailwind and Body Press, that would KO my Archaladon. So I did want to preserve my Terra for the Dondozo, but if Dragonite's dealt with, I think Dondozo just sweeps. As far as I can see. So I should have done that on the first turn, by the way. But, oh well. I was trying to preserve. So now there should be Tailwind. Or it's Scale Shot into Electrode, but that would be fine as well. Yeah, there's the Tailwind. And they're going to try and Body Press KO my Archaladon now, or KO the Electrode. Either is fine, because a boosted Body Press into a -1 defense. Okay, crit. Yeah, cool. This will KO the Dragonite, and now Haze is gone. Or at least the Haze potential is gone, so now I should be all good. Yeah, that is a KO. My Electro will also outspeed their Archaladon now as well, so I can still click Electro Web. If they bring in Basculegion, it will outspeed me. If they bring in anything else, it should still underspeed the Electrode, and I'll still be able to get an Electro Web off. It was the Pelipper. So this could outspeed Electrode if they are the Sash version. But I will still Electro Web for sure, and let's now Electro Shot the Pelipper, I think. I think that's most optimal. And then they're going to be... Okay, that's fine. Because now they're going to be slower than my Dondozo with the Archelodon even, and my Dondozo will be able to sweep them. Because they'll only get one KO here, and then switch in Dondozo in that slot, switch out the other thing into Tatsugiri and Surf. And then just hopefully they don't have White Guard. They don't have White Guard because they have Protect. There's no way you have White Guard if you have Protect. Actually, I say there's no way. You have Tailwind on Dragonite, it's reasonable to drop Tailwind for White Guard. So, who knows. Bit of a shame I didn't target Archelodon there. Because now they'll get their KO. Is it worth wave crashing just so I avoid a potential White Guard? Is it better to go Tatsugiri here? Because I outspeed them with Tatsugiri and I wouldn't need to risk them having White Guard. Because the amount of damage I've done, I can just Dragon Pulse KO the Archelodon now, right? I think I'm going to go Tatsugiri first. And you would assume that if they had White Guard, they would have gone for White Guard at this point. They are -2. They're definitely in range of Dragon Pulse. So I will Electro Web and I will Dragon Pulse the Archelodon. Only Hurricane Confusion is how I see this going wrong. And if it does, then it would have been better to go to Dondozo and just click Surf. Like, theoretically, yeah, okay, that's cool. The logic I was going with is that the Pelipper doesn't have White Guard. And there's Incineroar, so yes, Dondozo is just going to win now. I mean, Tatsugiri's even going to do very well. But can't miss Dragon Pulse. That is exactly why I have Dragon Pulse and Draco. Just for the absolute consistency of, yes, I definitely KO this Archelodon. Muddy Water would have been good, but that could miss. As much as possible, I'm trying to find guaranteed ways to win, rather than having to risk anything. Because if you've seen my previous GC runs, you know what my luck is like. Final turn of Tailwind. They've already used the Terra. I could hard switch to Dondozo right now, but that risks the Hurricane Confusion. I'm in Electro Web and Protect, I think, is the safest thing to do, because this is just the final turn of Tailwind. And I don't think they'll be able to KO my Electro without me getting an Electro Web off. Because yeah, Fake Out and Hurricane won't get me. They did smartly go for the Electro, but that's all good, because this won't KO, like so. And now I can attempt an Electro Web again and Dragon Pulse into the Pelipper, and that would be a KO. They protect the Pelipper and knock off, then that KOs Electrode, which is good, or they went for Tatsugiri, which didn't KO the Electrode or the Tatsugiri, and that should still be fine. Because then next turn I would just hard switch Electrode. Understandable. And this Electro Web guarantees that Incineroar is... Yep, it does connect. It does underspeed Dondozo even if they manage to get a Tailwind. Again, could it be Muddy Water? I don't want to risk the misses. I think this is still good. Yeah, like, you know, I got the Focus Sash. It's all good. Or is it better to Electro Web and switch to Dondozo instead? Because then I actually break the Sash of the Pelipper. And they're still under speeding. Yeah, I think that's slightly better, isn't it? I'm hoping these decisions are not the path that could open me up to losing. Like, obviously they have Hurricane, so nothing is guaranteed while they still have Hurricane. And Electro are connected, so that's all good. It doesn't KO Pelipper. I already know that. But it wouldn't have mattered anyway, whether they were Sash or not. Yeah, they do Hurricane there, so the game is over. Because that's taken away the Hurricane Confusion potential onto the Dondozo. So even though I lose my Life Orb, and that did good damage, obviously they are both in range of Surf now, even with the rain stopping. And I'll find out this turn if they have Wide Guard, and even if they do, a knockoff crit will not KO my Dondozo, and then I will just be able to Wave Crash instead next turn. So let's just click Surf. Most people should assume if there's a Pelipper with a Dondozo, it's usually the Surf one. But yeah, I was going to say, if they did assume that, they could have gone for Wide Guard, but this is double KO. And there we go. So I think there were multiple paths to victory there. And that one didn't open up a Hurricane Confusion, but it did open up potential Electro Web misses. But I think I would have still been good even if the Electro Webs had missed. Because I'd still just have clicked Surf, KO the Incineroar, not quite KO the Pelipper, and then I guess still dodge Hurricane Confusions, but even if they do Hurricane Confuse my Dondozo to death, then Tatsugiri would then just Dragon Ball something. So I think that was all good. And you'll notice I'm over-analysing these kind of things, but I am doing my best to find the paths to victory that do not rely on RNG. If you could not already tell, based on the fact that I've already said it, and that's a 1400s guy as well, and that's a Sableye. Okay. This looks annihilapeable. That is now a word. I like making up random words to do with Pokemon. Fake outable is one of my go-tos in actual commentary. Whether you're not a ghost or you can Terra Ghost, whether you're fake outable or not. I should be able to just go with Rain in this, right? I don't want to go with Dondozo because of the Amoonguss having potential Clear Smog, and also the Primarina potentially having Haze, and also the Sableye probably can't do much actually. But actually, like, to be fair, Dondozo is reasonable, but I think that Annihilape is also reasonable here, so I'm going to just go with the basic Rain. This is where the Sableye has Sunny Day to be the worst case. The team is very slow, so I wouldn't be surprised if they have Quash on the Sableye. Because their team is very slow, apart from the Sneasler. And that is a cool trainer card. I haven't actually done the Petulant event yet. I mean, I haven't needed to. So, whenever they lead with Amoonguss, it's kind of already GG. And the reason is because I Bullet Seed myself, I don't even taunt the Amoonguss, I Bullet Seed myself, and I Terra Grass, and I Rage Fist. And Amoonguss becomes kind of useless, and then I just sweep through, and it's basically like it's a 2v1, and my 2 has a 1 that is just going to OHKO everything else. So, like, Pollen Puff or Sludge Bomb then actually does damage, but on this initial first turn, theoretically in a best of 1 closed team sheet, they are unlikely to go for Pollen Puff or Sludge Bomb turn 1 onto the Annihilape. In a open team sheet format, that would be a lot more reasonable to go for, but I would be amazed if that is not at least a Spore or a Rage Powder. I mean, that is reasonable, but there is nothing they can do as a punish, apart from get a Sludge Bomb poison into my Annihilape, and that would be insane of a first play. So let's see, how baller are they? Yeah, that's the reason why this becomes so incredibly comfortable. Like, I don't really even need to taunt the Amoonguss, because I am immune to Spore with both. So I think I can Electro Web and Rage Fist and just get some extra chip. Because they'll go for an offensive move this time. There's no reason not to go for the offensive move, so there's no reason to taunt. And this extra bit of chip will guarantee that Primarina is in range of only 4 boosted Rage Fist. Like so. And hopefully it's Pollen Puff rather than Sludge Bomb, because that won't two-shot me. Sludge Bomb will. It is Pollen Puff, but it went for Electrode, which is also super effective, but I have EV'd my Electrode, like the EVs for Electrode are specifically so Pollen Puff is the 3-shot. Like, that's what I went for. I think I also did it so I did it so that Electrode could survive a Pollen Puff, but also survive a Terra Dark Black Glasses Sucker Punch at neutral, I'm pretty sure, is what I went for. So I should still go for an Electro Response. I might as well Bullet Seeds to not miss and Rage Fist in case they are Focus Sash. Understandable. But Sash is broken now, so that's all good. So this next turn, I believe, I Rage Fist the Sneasler and Taunt the Amoonguss now, because I'm probably getting close to one of these Pokemon being KO'd. And they are ignoring the Annihilape completely. There you go! There's my EVs coming into play! Well, it's going to be like stat points in Champions now, but, you know. My spreads are God tier, is something I say multiple times every single GC, but that was literally what I just EV'd for. That one, like, usually it's when my spreads are God tier is when it wasn't what I had EV'd for, it's just... it happened to survive. But that was literally, Electrode has been trained so it survives 2 Pollen Puffs. Like, this exact reason. Because like I said, if they lead Amoonguss, I can just do this, and then they waste an extra turn going for the Pollen Puff KO. So my initial EVs was, like, more defense to survive the King Gambit Sucker Punch straight away. But then I realized that I was being two-shot by Pollen Puff with Electrode, so that's why I changed. And now I am even more boosted. Because the Intimidate. Get that Defiant. And I got Rain in the back, don't I? Yeah, so the game is basically over. That's the best way to do it. Let's see if this is enough to KO Incineroar. Just to learn. I won't get to learn, but that's okay. I don't think there was much else I could have done with the Electrode. Oh, this will be the double into the Annihilape, actually, won't it? So, to be fair, the obvious looking back play, and like very obvious in hindsight, play was to switch to Archaladon. So maybe I was feeling too comfortable there. I would be amazed if Incineroar and Amoonguss is able to come back against Archaladon Pelipper. They do still have Terror available, so that's something to keep in mind. They are still taunted, right? Pretty sure they're still taunted. If not, I'll taunt them this turn. Yeah, one more turn. So I will switch to Pelipper here, and I believe that Electroshot into Incineroar is the most optimal thing to go for right now. Hopefully I haven't thrown away a way that I can lose by not making the very obvious play looking back of switch to Archaladon with the Annihilape. But they've used their Terra straight up, so that's good. It's bug, so... I mean, it's Wolf's Incineroar. It's usually bug, but obviously you can change the Terra of Wolf's Incineroar, so... But that changed nothing. So now I just click Hurricane instead of Weather Ball, right? And they can't tear it out of the Hurricane KO into the Amoonguss now, so I can go for Electroshot and Hurricane instead. Into the Incineroar, actually, is going to be more optimal, because then it forces the Rage Powder. And then Pollen Puff will do a tiny bit to Pelipper. This will be, dude, yeah, like, there's no way I lose this, right? Even by not making the most optimal play on that Annihilape switch in turn. Because this does nothing as well. Yeah, like, this is over. I don't know why I'm still, like, analysing this, like over-analysing this, but, you know, I want to make sure that I've guaranteed the win. This may go wrong if Incineroar carries Protect, but they don't carry Protect in Regulation. In Regulation H. But, to be fair, this is Wolf's Incineroar. It didn't Protect. But this is Wolf's Incineroar, so they didn't change it at all. It carries Protect. But this will KO the Incineroar with Electro and Hurricane, and yes, it will need the Hurricane, but that's all good. I'm pretty sure it's competitively optimal to not use Wolf's Incineroar, right? Because Wolf's Incineroar has 29 in its speed stat. 29 IVs in its speed stat. So then you don't ever get to... Like, if you see Wolf's Incineroar, you know for sure it is not going to be slower than 71 speed. Like, 79 at neutral nature, but then 71 at minus nature. So, in my opinion, I believe it is competitively optimal to never use Wolf's Incineroar. But some people will want to use it just because, you know, they're using Wolf's Incineroar. I think just like using Shiny Chi-Yu if we get Chi-Yu back in a future regulation before Champions. Does the Shiny Chi-Yu have not 0 attack? Like, I don't really care about the foul play stuff. I settle for not quite. Like, decent on the judge, I will perfectly accept. There's a 1500s guy. But if we're allowed to use Chi-Yu again, then I'm definitely using the blue one, because it is legitimately just my favourite shiny straight up of any Pokemon. Because the light blue on the Chi-Yu looks awesome. Shame it came out after Regulation I. But here we go. But against Dragapult, Electrode and Annihilate will do well, because I'll actually outspeed and OHKO it. So that seems like it would be pretty reasonable. This is like the standard team with Dragapult over Ursaluna now. Yeah, it is. Like, the top 5 are the, like, go-to standard team, because that's what won Frankfurt and is doing really well. And it was Ursaluna over Dragapult, but this should do well against that. And then... yeah, I think Rain is still better than Dondozo here. Like, Dondozo is reasonable, but there's the Ninetales to potentially turn off the Rain. There's the Rillaboom, and from my experience, just a little bit of testing with the Surf Dondozo. Rillaboom, obviously, like, very obviously, because I can't defensively Terra, and can only go for water moves. Rillaboom is very good. And they've also got the Dragapult as well, so that would resist and probably survive the Surf. It'd be close, because Dragapult's very frail, but still. I think this is better because if they bring Dragapult, they're likely to lead with Dragapult, and then I can snipe it immediately. And they got double Fake Out, so I can just go for... that's a cool trainer card. I can go for Terra Ghost, most likely on this first turn, as they lead with Fake Out and Dragapult. Or not. They're going straight away for the... actually, no, this is bad if they're Grassy Seed, isn't it? Because I can't Terra out of the Acrobatics KO. So now, yeah, they are the Grassy Seed. I now need to call, are they going to immediately Acrobatics, or are they going to Swords Dance first? Because if it's Swords Dance first, I should Terra Ghost and Bullet Seed myself and Rage Fist. If they are going to immediately Acrobatics, I should switch to Archelodon. And I do not see any way around that, and we just need to commit to something. Yeah, I don't see a way around it. So let's make the call and switch to Archelodon. Because then I will still be able to get to my defense. I think this is surely the most optimal, even if they Swords Dance, because I still get my boosts. I mean, both plays, regardless, I was Terra Ghosting and Bullet Seeding myself, wasn't I? So this has got to be more optimal. I mean, they didn't Terra Flying, so I could have Rage Fisted. And they immediately went for Dire Claw, so they are not even the Swords Dance one, necessarily. But I still get my boosts, so that's all good. And I did say against a Sneasler lead, one of my plays is beat up my Electrode and switch it Electrode into Archelodon. But if they were the Grassy Seed, I think it's a reasonable assumption that they were the Terraflying Acrobatics one, because that's the most common Sneasler on this archetype now. However, this is a very good position, because I didn't get Diaclaw shenaniganed. And we got the +5 as well, which is nice. And this is going to do absolutely nothing. Look at that. That's really nice. Cool. So, obviously a pretty reasonable start. I believe I want to preserve my Electrode. However, if I switch to Pelipper this turn in Electric Shot, they could hard switch to Ninetales. But I still think that is the correct play to do. And actually, if they switch the Sneasler, then it would have switched first, because it's unburdened and faster than Electrode. But if they hard switch the Rillaboom, then they'll get the Ninetales, and then I'm stuck in the Electroshock. They didn't, and this won't do that much, like so. That's good, and their Grassy Terrain is going to help me get recovery as well, which is nice. Woodhammer will do a lot to Pelipper, but shouldn't KO. They high horsepower as well, that's fine. It's just not doing damage. And they've close combated, so this should KO, right? Because I'm going to be +1 and they're going to be -1, and this should now KO. As far as I understand. And then they'll bring in their Ninetales. That didn't KO. Archelodon, what are you doing? That's reasonable enough, though. So we're switching up Pelipper to preserve Rain. I don't really feel like I need Rain now. I'm +1, so I should be good. So let's just get the Hurricane into the Rillaboom. And I want to Flash Cannon in case they switch to Ninetales this turn. Obviously, if they stay in, Electroshot is more optimal. But, okay, that's the one that's switching. And if that's the Ninetales, which is not, then fair enough. But it's still Dragapult, which is a physical attacker, and so they're still not going to be doing that much damage to me. But you see there, they've close combated super effectively twice, and still not even done half. Bit of a shame I didn't Tailwind. Tailwind would have been more optimal. But Hurricane, even with no special attack investment, should still two-shot a Dragapult. I'd be surprised if it didn't, because Dragapult is quite frail. It does, but Grassy Terrain will save it. Okay. But their Grassy Terrain is really helping out my Archelodon. So now this will be Ninetales if they have Ninetales. They don't have Ninetales. My Archelodon looks amazing right now. Okay, cool. So, that means I can safely Electroshot if I do want to. I will Tailwind this turn. And I'm feeling very comfortable at the moment. Flash Cannon should KO the Dragapult from here. I assume there's a Fake Out somewhere. But them not bringing Ninetales and only bringing 4 physical attackers, and me bullet seeding myself straight away, was very, very sweet. And they've used their Unburden as well, so their Sneasler is really slow now. I say really slow, like, obviously not like super fast. It's like regular old. That's understandable. This is probably Outrage. Makes sense. It's just Dragon Darts. That's not going to do it. Now I'm going to get my Tailwind. I was going to say, the crit might have done it, but it didn't. So, should still be good. Because this should now be Flash Cannon into Dragapult, which should KO, right? And Weather Ball into Incineroar, which might not actually KO. I believe it's double the Dragapult just in case, isn't it? And if I'm doubling it, I might as well Weather Ball it in case the Flash Cannon is enough. Right, yeah, that makes sense. And it was enough, so. Now Weather Ball might not be enough into the Incineroar, because again, I am not special attack invested in this Pelipper. It is purely bulk and a little bit of speed. Yep, didn't think it would. And Parting Shot makes no difference. I think this game is highlighting why I am not a fan of basically purely physical teams, or even purely special teams. Like, you can face Quiver Dance Volcarona or Snarl Spam if you're purely special. But, like, lots of teams are heavily physically orientated and then have, like, one special attack. But then if you face a defense-boosting thing, which does exist like this, then you are not in a good position in the slightest. So, let's go for... because I still have my entire Annihilape and all that in the back, don't I? So it's Hurricane, the Rillaboom, just put it in range, and Electroshot. The Incineroar. Yeah, this will be Fake Out and High Horsepower, and I'm not even sure that's going to get me. And I've got a chance for a Hurricane Confusion as well. Nope, and they just Wood Hammer as well. So that's all good. Now I can go into Annihilape pretty safely. The Electro won't do that much at the moment. I don't think a Bullet Seed or a Chloroblast might KO this, but that's not worth going for. So this will be just close combat into the Rillaboom, and let's Electroshot again because the rain is definitely still up. Yeah, like so. So that was incredibly comfortable and shows why you should not bring an entirely physical team against a Narchaladon.